Today, I'm here with Veronique James, the founder and CEO of the James Agency, an award-winning full-service advertising, public relations, and digital firm in Scottsdale, Arizona. A Southern California native, Veronique earned her Bachelor of Fine Arts degree in Visual Communications from the University of Arizona and worked for highly reputable advertising agencies before opening the doors of TGA in 2005. Actively involved in the community, Veronique is currently President-elect for Entrepreneurs Organization, Arizona's chapter, and will serve as the organization's second female president in 2017 and 2018. Veronique lives with her husband and two children in Scottsdale, Arizona, and she's got an incredible story that she's going to share with us today.
If you own a gym or you need a gym, this is your guy.
My name's Mike, and I help fitness studios that are ready to take action, work hard, and grow their studios. In this very saturated industry, there's tons of competition, but the opportunities are incredible. We'll cover the most common challenges in the fitness world and invite guests in the show that have learned to overcome them and share their strategies with you. This is the GSD Show. What's up, everybody? I'm Mike, and welcome to the GSD Show. I'm here with Veronique James from the James Agency. Say what's up.
Hey guys, what's going on?
So excited to have her on. Currently, this is a full-service PR and advertising agency. 34 people working here, and actually, depending on when you're watching this show, because you've been growing so fast.
Yeah, we just hired 4 over the winter break, so.
You may have 50 by the time you watch this. I have no idea.
Hopefully.
So how did the James Agency come to be what it is today?
Yeah, gosh, it's been 12 years. I date myself on film because that's 1/3 of my lifetime. I was a senior art director at a large firm here in Phoenix and had come out of school, graduated from U of A, bear down. I was a graphic design degree, and I was tired of being a number in a large organization. I worked in a cube. I never had that client-facing interaction, and I was working on some really big accounts like Wyndham Hotels and Golden Door Spas and Ritz-Carlton, and I felt that there had to be a better way, right? Like I had the passion. I was really excited about my vision for our industry, the vision of the industry and the vision for me and my path of life. But I knew that being in corporate advertising was just not my jam.
Okay.
And so one day I took the leap of faith and I walked into my boss's office and I was shaking like a leaf and I resigned. And he looked at me and he said, I knew you were never going to be a lifer. He's like, I just knew it. He's like, I knew when you started here 2 years ago that you had something in you. And he said, you know, you're young, but you're mighty. And I can't wait to see where you land. And I just took that to the most personal heart. I felt like now I definitely can't let these people down, right? Mm-hmm. So my last day was a Tuesday. I woke up Wednesday morning. I got dressed just like I was going to work, took a shower, put on nice clothes. I walked right across my mezzanine, sat down in my home office and started hitting the pavement. And here I am, you know, I was just working with Wyndham and all these multi-million-dollar accounts, and now I'm starting from scratch. So Zero clients. So I'm going to the local tanning salon, the guy that cleans the windows in my neighborhood, and I'm doing the most basic fundamental advertising techniques like direct mail. I mean, I really had taken a step back.
You mean you didn't just start a business, get a Facebook page, and clients just started coming?
You know, it's so funny, and Facebook didn't even exist then. I mean, I did, but it just really wasn't used at the caliber of which it is today, social media in that fact. So it was about cold calling and dropping by, and I used to pretend that we were bigger.
My favorite part of the story.
Oh my gosh, you're gonna make me blush here because it is
the coolest part of the
story. All right, so I used to act as if. I think that was kind of my mantra, and my mantra has changed year over year, right? I realized quickly that in order for me to get that trust that I needed from those higher dollar paying clients, that I needed to pretend like I was a bigger firm. And so, as I said, I was working in my home office, you know, my refurbished Macintosh computer that I had bought for $500. That's all I could afford at the time. And I used to have clients call my home. I had set up like a separate, you know, e-phone number, and they'd call, and I'd answer the phone in a British accent.
Can I hear it?
No, because it's so bad, and I'm so out of practice. But I used to answer the phone in an accent, and then I'd put the phone down, and then I'd answer it as myself, pretending that I had a front office receptionist. In hindsight, it was totally ridiculous. And I'm sure the people on the other end totally knew that I was like a huge fake, right? But you know, it made me feel like I was establishing some credibility. And then so often clients would say like, hey, can we come to your office? And I would be like, no, like our value proposition is that we're easy to work with. We'll come to you.
Did you ever answer in that voice, not knowing who was going to be on the other line, and it was a guy from like London, and he's like, was that supposed to be a London accent?
You know what's so funny is a client that I have today, who we have worked on several multifamily real estate projects, great guy, was actually an introduction from many years ago, and coincidentally he is from London, and he has a fantastic accent, and he did call the office.
Did you just hang up?
No, but I was terribly embarrassed, you know, and it's those humbling experiences, I think, that builds character. So, you know, you learn what you learn. When I was, you know, I was 23 when I started the company, and I thought like, man, I'm fearless. Like I know everything, and I didn't know anything at the time. So, you know, little things like that. Like I'd go to the people's offices, and I'd rally all of my freelance friends and pretend they were employees. I'd drum up some business cards really fast and made my own website. I mean, I bootstrapped the heck out of that company, did everything DIY, acted as if, and then, you know, just started earning some really great loyal clients. And then I donated a lot of my time to some really big nonprofits. So at the time, the Heartball and Florence Crittenton, they were looking for creative resources. And I had been introduced to some of the principals of those foundations, and I had offered to donate my creative services in exchange for placed advertising in their programs, or maybe on their slide deck, their thank you to our sponsors. And boy, that's hard to work for free, if anybody knows, but you know, you have to start somewhere. And so by having that brand representation in front of really awesome key stakeholders of the city, right? You think about the people who go to those events, and having that frequency of brand in front of those people generated more business, more paying clients. So it created integrity, and eventually, you know, we got a small little office. I had 5 employees. Overnight, we turned into 15 employees, and then here we are 12 years later, and it's like the 500-pound gorilla that I have to keep shoving bananas down. You know, it's a very, very cool ride. Never in my wildest dreams did I expect that I would be in this position.
34 employees, coolest office, and looking for a bigger office now.
Yes,
right?
gosh, yeah.
And so when you were 23, like you said, you felt like you got it, you figured it all out, and then you realized you needed to learn a lot about what being a CEO meant, and especially with as many employees you have, I'm sure you had to learn a lot about managing a team and scaling a business like the way you have, right?
Yes.
So where did you go to learn that stuff? Because at the age of 23, that wasn't just there.
Yeah, you know, and I'm a sole proprietor, so I don't have partners. And as you said, you know, it's a stressful environment to own a business. I feel like sometimes when you're on your own island, you can harbor a lot of the stress that comes with just the day-to-day, you know? And there's so many decisions that are happening behind the scenes that your employees are not aware of. So as you said, 23, I'm fearless, I have a huge ego, I think that I can handle anything, and it's falling forward was my mantra right around that 25 to 27-year-old time frame, where I'm like, okay, I'm gonna make a mistake, but I'm gonna look and I'm gonna say, what did I learn from this, right? Some of those mistakes were very costly, you know, and you lose a ton of money, but I realized that next time I was gonna approach things differently. So I was self-taught in the beginning, which I don't think was great. And I hit my 30s, we had 100% growth year over year, exceptional growth. And I felt like my hair was on fire. And I was at a point now where I'm like, okay, I need to start acting like a big girl. Like, this is a real company now. I've got commitments to a lot of people who are paying their mortgage and their car payments and their kids' college tuitions by way of this livelihood that I've created. What the heck do I do? And I think that part of being a business owner, there's so much more of a psychology around it. Yes, there's the logistics of managing cash flow and ensuring that you have client retention and outbound marketing and sales, but there's a lot of internal logistics that come with being a mentor and a leader to these people and cultivating an environment that they want to follow. And I needed to rub elbows with people like you, like-minded individuals who had been through historically some of the challenges and tribulations that I may be facing as I go through this journey. So I started reaching out to a bunch of friends and clients, and they recommended a really cool group called Entrepreneurs Organization, acronym EO. Our chapter here is about 156 entrepreneurs. And the requirements are that you have to do $1 million minimum gross revenue annually.
And they do that because the challenges for somebody doing $1 million are different than somebody doing 150,000.
It really is. It's a crazy benchmark. Everything changes, and I can testify to that. So, you know, and I kept putting it off. I kept saying like, don't have time, or, I'm getting ready to start a family. And I always had an excuse. And I think I was far too smart to be the only thing standing in my way at that time. And then finally, a really close friend said to me, why you need EO is what you're complaining about right now, that you don't have enough time, and you need to learn how to make time and to focus on your one thing or your core competency as a leader.
Right. You know what the funny thing is too, one of the things that I've said to people that have worked in loud rumor in leadership positions in the past, and even to friends of mine that run businesses, when I recommend a book for them to read and they say, I just don't have time to read right now. Right. The reason you don't have time to read is because you don't have time to read.
Right.
Once you start reading about this kind of stuff, your world opens up. You organize your things better. You prioritize better.
Absolutely.
The little things that you stress about and spend too much time on become not so important.
Right.
And the big things that you really should keep your eye on the entire time and focus on, that you can build a team around, and you learn how to really structure a plan for it. And so I think that I agree 100% with that, where the more you learn, the easier the walls come down to learn. So let's talk about your personal mantra.
Okay.
Tell me about that.
I got a couple.
Okay.
All right. So I deal with a lot of shady people in business. I think we all do. We all come across just people who lead with intimidation and not integrity. So that's my first. Lead with integrity. And that's a mantra I try to practice from a leadership perspective, right? I think that people buy people, they don't buy products or ideas. And so if I can project integrity in anything I do as an employer or as a salesperson, I think that there's a really good standard to be set, and just kind of chipping away one day at a time into some of that corruptness that is happening out there. I told you about maxing out my moments because my moments are maxed out. That's a pretty personal mantra for me as a mom and as a wife. And then to be really candid, it's just that the instinctual, I'm just trying to lead this every day, is just trusting my gut. We were presented a really sizable opportunity yesterday with a really big international brand. We were just talking about doing big deals, right? And we're talking several figures with lots of commas. And to any kind of business owner, that's very appealing, right? Because you're thinking, man, this is a paycheck that will set us up for the next couple years. It could take a ton of pressure off of me. I wouldn't have to go so hard. There wasn't the chemistry between myself and the principals, and my team kind of felt it too, and it'd be an awesome project, but we had a powwow today, and we talked about, does this align with our core values as a company? Are we going to enjoy working on this project? Yeah, it'll yield great revenue, and it could probably take us to a different level, but we're strongly considering turning down respectfully the opportunity because we don't feel like there would be that mutual respect and chemistry that we're sort of craving and trying to practice. I mean, if we're really saying that we're going to be the antithesis of traditional business practices, we need to follow that instinct. And so right now, that's kind of globally what we're beating our drum to. So I got a lot of those going on right now. And I know that sounds quite a bit cheesy and a little bit disoriented. But
well, you probably come up with more as you go too, because you're a reader and you hang out with guys they have all their own mantras. And, I've gotten mantras from people that I really just stole theirs because I liked it so much, and it really kind of just summed up what I really believe in and feel.
What's your mantra?
So Michael Jordan is the mantra I took, which is play, I know, typical, right, guys?
Basketball.
Yeah. Play like you never lost and practice like you've never won. So when you're in the game and you're sitting down in front of the person, you have real great confidence and really hold yourself to a high standard and really present yourself in the best way you can. But when you're behind the scenes, do the dirty stuff. Really get in there, get your hands dirty, and really learn about the things and continue reading and continue learning as if you have achieved zero things yet. You still got so much more to go.
Yeah, that's awesome.
All right, so you've worked with some really great brands. And you take really strong brands like Orange Theory Fitness, Peloton, Soul Cycle, right? Brands that have really solidified that particular thing that they're wanting to master. Then you have all these people that are just starting out. They're starting out their franchise opportunity, or even just their first location as a prototype and hoping to franchise. What, in your eyes, in your experience of working with so many great brands, what are the parallels? What does it take to develop a strong brand campaign?
Let's start with a plan.
Okay.
So I have a lot of clients that come to us, and they're extremely established, right? And sometimes I wonder, how the hell are they making so much money? Because they're so disorganized behind the scenes, right? So whether you're a startup or you're a well-established multi-million-dollar business, you got to get a plan together. We just signed a fairly large account in Q3. They have 97 locations in the United States. They're very well recognized, but they were just all over. So when we're talking about brand and campaign recognition, a lot of clients will be like, yeah, I want to go to the market now, and I want to share a voice here, and I want to start sending stuff out. And I'm like, wait a second, let's slow down. Let's look at what your financial goals are, your revenue goals. What were you trending? Let's work against those benchmarks, and let's build a marketing calendar, whatever you want to call it, a roadmap, a marketing calendar, a critical path, a 30, 60, 90. Get something in place.
So don't just wing your marketing.
No, and I joke with people,
Which
I'm
is
like,
what most people do.
a lot of people take that darn spaghetti and throw it against the wall, and they hope it sticks, and that's a hot mess. It ends up being really expensive, right? Because you're sort of grasping at the straws. You're throwing out a bunch of stuff. And so I'm a huge proponent of taking a breath. Let's get a plan at least for the first 90 days, right? And let's look at all of your trigger methods. So if you are heavy in social, let's talk about your trigger methods in social, what your share of voice is. If you are active in earned media, public relations, just community outreach, what's worked, what hasn't, that's an important part. You have to look and see what's broken, because a lot of people just kind of toss it to the side, and sometimes people continue to reinvest in the same outlets just because that's where they've always put their money, and they're afraid if they pull out. Let's look at the metrics. Let's identify the behaviors. With today's marketing capabilities, everything is quantifiable, right? Your website is your best data analysis tool ever. You can tell where people are coming from. Are they using tablets? Are they on desktop?
Male, female, age.
It's crazy.
Right.
The data is phenomenal. We joke, our digital interactive director, we call him Dr. Dallas, because it's so, he diagnoses a client just by looking at that data. And then we apply that information into a plan of attack. Even in non-KPI programs like PR, which is traditional earned pitched media, because we want to know the behaviors and where the audiences are. So put a plan together. Map it out. And it doesn't have to be anything super sexy. It doesn't have to be really clean. It can literally be an Excel file, or hell, it could be a whiteboard. But put some dates against it, and how are you going to check against those efforts? But don't try everything. And I see so many clients have their money spread out across they have all their chips on the table, right? They're just hoping that red 26 is going to land. And then you lose all the rest of the money on your table. That's a really good analogy there. Am I still in the frame? I feel like I'm wiggling around here.
Oh, you got 4 frames
Nice.
up?
Okay, I'm good. I have a tendency to do this a lot too. So don't put all your chips on the table just yet. Test against that plan. Do micro bites. Whether you're a big company or a small company, we recommend this quite a bit. And then be continuous. Right now, there's a lot of clutter, especially in the fitness industry. There's a ton of noise. And everybody's going so hard, so loud, so fast. You're getting hit up on social advertising. You're getting native advertising in your Instagram, and Snapchat just announced.
And you especially, because you're a target demographic.
100%. I mean, I'm just getting pummeled. And it's frustrating sometimes, because I go to those platforms for mindless entertainment, right? And then I've got radio, I've got online experience, I've got, I do a lot of reading, like you said. And so I feel inundated, right? And if I were a business owner within the fitness category, I would pick 3 very targeted outlets. I'd map it out for 90 days, and I'd test. I do A/B testing.
Okay.
So you're testing different behaviors. You can test females, I'm just going to throw out some hypotheticals there, 20 to 35, and then males 20 to 35. And you send the same product or deliverable, but with different messaging, and you see which one converts better. It's all about creating a funnel. Right?
And the funny thing is, once you, for us as on the Loud Rumor side, the agency, you learn what works kind of blanketing, so like the male versus female, depending on what you're doing. A CrossFit's going to be about 50-50, but you take yoga, Pilates, bar, spin, these types, we already know. We only target the female mostly because they come in at a cost about 4 times cheaper than a male. So a lead for a female might be $2, a lead for a male might be $8. And when you really factor that in over the course of a budget, let's say you spend $2,000 and that gets you, 200 leads versus 50,
Right.
it's very different,
Right.
And your
Right.
growth over the course of this month, next month, over the course of a year, that's a very different growth pattern just by saying, you know what, screw it, let's just target females.
Right.
They'll bring their husbands in if they like it.
Right, but females are a very discerning target, right? Females are, I'm like pointing at you. Females are, as I'm talking my inner female right now, they're very particular, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're very brand aware because they're sensitive to fashion
Right.
and retail and home. So they're a little more accustomed to brand continuity. And I always tell our clients, awareness comes from like a lot of repetition. So frequency is important because that generates trust. And so the more times you see a brand, the more likely you're to engage. I talked about that at the top. But women are also paying attention to the quality of the brand. So we talked about putting a plan together. Then make sure that all of your fundamental assets are in line. So whether you're a startup and you're building those, foundational elements like your logo and your message and your website, or you're a 40-year-old company, which one of our clients just came to us and said, we need to do an audit. We need to make sure everything is, continuous and that we're being consistent because we've got some people talking over here. We got stuff going out over here. We got our sales team doing this. And unfortunately, at that scale, when you have over 2,000 employees, things do get disconnected.
Right.
So having a central location to own that continuity is really important. So that's kind of phase 2, I would say, do an audit or a build and make sure it's consistent because the female audience is going to be exceptionally attuned to that. And then you start to activate and implement and do testing and whatnot. That awareness though is really important. And people keep saying that email is dead. I know you and I don't, I think that like people overdid it and they did it wrong for a while, but there's a new statistic out there that for every $1 you spend in email, if you do it right, you're going to get $38 back, basically. $38.
Wow.
Yeah, Inc. magazine just released that a couple days ago. So if you do email correctly and you build a funnel and you segment your list and you do targeted content that converts correctly, you're going to yield that 38 times, which is incredible.
Well, because if you think about it, if you're doing Facebook ads, and let's say you have 200 leads that come in, you're not closing 200 of those leads.
Yeah.
If you close 20 or 25 of those, that's a pretty good month out of 200. But what do you do out of the other 180? What do they just go away and you wait for next month's new 200 to come in? Or can you put them in some sort of a system, a drip like you're talking about to constantly stay engaged? Because it's about timing with fitness.
Well, and automation is the best form of practice because like you said, you've got 20 hot leads, you've got to focus now your energy on that. You've got 180 that are sort of peripheral, and then you've got a new batch coming in for the next month. How do you manage those either cold or warm leads? Technology allows for drip sequences all the time, and it depends on what those touch points are, but there are a lot of different programs out there and facilities that offer an if-when. So you could do an SMS text, and if somebody doesn't respond to that, 10 days later they get a direct mail drop, which is very inexpensive if you do non-first class postage. And if they convert there, then maybe they go to a personalized URL website that converts them. But if they fall off there, 30 days later the cycle starts again. I mean, there's all these automated systems right now, and this is not new technology per se, it's just getting sharper and faster. Right. Where you can pay a subscription, you can upload data, it's all about data, and then it looks at those triggers and you can set those timelines and you can activate in all these different kind of omni sequences, social, email, print, and it really just comes down to the behaviors of your target demographic and what they pay attention to. I don't read the mail. I get a lot of it. I get a lot of junk as a business owner. Don't hit me up with the mail.
No,
right? You got to pay attention to that too. Just, I'm on my computer all day long. So don't just put money where you think you should be putting money too. Going back to the data and paying attention to how people are paying attention to your brand. Right. How they're activating with your brand. History tells the future. Right. Data helps you make you decisions. But when people say like, oh, you should be paying $36,000 for a double truck ad in XYZ magazine just because everybody else is in there. Instinctual business leadership.
I just met somebody who works for a guy at a gym that just committed to like a 6-month contract for $5,000 for a billboard every month. $5,000 a month for the next 6 months. A print billboard? A billboard. Not digital. No, it's a print billboard, and it doesn't. It's not even. It's crooked, so you don't even know what direction to go in. It's right off the road where you have to like quickly react, make a left or right, no arrow, and it's just so frustrating because as an entrepreneur, he just jumps on things and he doesn't think things through. He's just like, yeah, that should work. And it's so common. It's very common. And you think $5,000? It's just a penny, penny in the bucket.
But
once you
over
find
12
something-
months, that's 60 grand.
Right, and if you find an avenue to get your leads at $4 a pop,
Right.
now you've drained it. What could you have done with that 5,000 knowing an avenue to get, you know?
Right.
All right, so we're going to close out. Before we close out, Italian teaching moment. Sam, play a little Italian music because you mentioned this one phrase, and I was very excited to learn that this was a catchphrase after it was something I actually did. Throw it at the wall, see if it sticks. You know where that comes from?
No.
No? Sam, do you? It's close. So when I in college, lived on my own, it's an Italian thing. When you want to know if the spaghetti's done, you take a spaghetti out of the boiling water, you throw it at the wall. If it sticks to the wall, it's done. You can take it out, drain it.
Nice.
If it doesn't stick to the wall, it slides off. You got to let it cook a little more.
Nice.
There you go, guys. Everyone knows. Now when you say it, you're not just saying it. You know when you say throw it at the wall, see if it sticks, it's from spaghetti.
I learn something every day.
It's exciting, and that's a good one.
Thank you for blowing my mind.
Tonight, cook spaghetti. You're going to just be throwing it all over the walls. Your husband's going to be like, what the hell are you doing?
Fortunately, I'm not the cook in the family. I'm the cleaner, so I'll be the one cleaning it up off the ground.
Perfect.
But, yeah.
Perfect. Hey, thank you so much for coming on.
My pleasure.
A lot of really great information. Is there anything else you want to add, or you feel pretty good about
No, I feel good, but you guys can hit me up anytime. If you have any follow-up questions, just let me know.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thanks so much. Hey, that was Veronique from the James Agency. Thanks so much for tuning in. We'll see you next time. Thanks so much for joining us today. If you liked this episode, then subscribe to our podcast on iTunes or Stitcher and to our YouTube channel to never miss an episode. You can get all the links by going to thegsdshow.com. Thanks, and see you next time.